Let me ask you a question that could change your life. Why not you? Why not the one who rises from the struggle? Why not the one who breaks the cycle? Why not the one who proves everybody wrong? Oh, you've been waiting, watching others win, clapping for everybody else. But deep down, you know you want it too. You feel that fire in your gut, but you keep holding back, thinking it's for someone else. Why? Because you think you're not ready, not qualified, not chosen? Let me tell you something. Nobody is more chosen than you. You don't need someone to hand you a golden ticket. You don't need perfect conditions. You need hunger. You need grit. You need to stop asking for permission that you are not less than anyone. That's the truth you've got to drill into your mind every single day. You see other people winning, people getting the promotions, building businesses, creating impact, and you start thinking, maybe they've got something you don't. Maybe they're more talented. Maybe they're more talented. Maybe they've got better connection. Maybe they're just built for it, but that's a lie you've told yourself for too long. The only difference between them and you is belief and action. It's not about where you were born, how much money your family had, or who believed in you growing up. It's about what you choose to believe right now. Right here. Today, every successful person you've ever admired was once just like you, broke, confused, insecure. But what separated them wasn't some magical gift. It was the decision to say, I'm not less than anyone. I belong in the room. See, life doesn't check your background before it hands you opportunity. Life doesn't ask, what's your resume say? Life responds to effort, hunger, and relentless pursuit. That's it. So when you see someone doing what you want to do, don't get jealous, get inspired. If it's possible for them, it's possible for you. The difference is not in ability, it's in mindset. But here's the problem. You've been conditioned to doubt yourself. Maybe it was school, maybe it was family, maybe it was society. Somewhere along the way, you started thinking you had limits. You let fear talk louder than your dreams. You started playing smart because you didn't want to fail. And the worst part, you started believing the voice in your head that said, I'm not enough. That voice is lying. You got gifts, you got potential, you got value. But none of that matters if you keep sitting on it, waiting for someone to notice. Nobody's coming to discover you. You've got to rise up and become undeniable. Every time you walk into a room, stop shrinking. Stop apologizing for who you are. You don't have to play the background anymore. Your story, your pain, your grind, it matters. Your perspective is valuable. Your energy is needed. But the world won't see that until you do. You got to carry yourself like you've already made it. Not with arrogance, but with confidence. Confidence that says, I belong at the table. And if there's no table for me, I'll build my own. That's the difference between people who win and people who wish. The winners stop waiting for permission. That comparison is the thief of your destiny. Every time you measure your journey against someone else's timeline, you lose sight of your own growth. You think just because they're ahead of you now, you're behind. But that's not how life works. You're not behind. You're becoming the version of you that can handle what's coming. Maybe your season of waiting is your season of building. Maybe your delay is your development. Maybe you haven't lost. Maybe you're being prepared. But if you keep thinking we're not good enough, you'll forfeit the very thing that's trying to shape you. You've got to understand something deep in your core. You are not average. You're not ordinary. And the fact that you've made it this far through everything proves that there's strength in you. Some people had a head start, sure, but you've got something better. Resilience. You got the ability to get up after every fall. And that's what it takes. Not perfection, not privilege, just persistence. So stop letting the world convince you that you're behind. You're not behind, you're aligned. And when it's your time, nothing will stop it. But right now, you gotta walk like it's already yours. People who make it don't always have more talent, they just refuse to quit. They don't get it right every time. They just show up every day. That's what levels the playing field. That's how underdogs become legends. Not by waiting, not by doubting, but by deciding. Deciding to own their identity. Deciding to show up with fire. Deciding that no one is above them. Because nobody is. Not in the gym, not in business, not in the classroom, not on stage. Titles and accolades don't make people better. Effort does. Focus does. Discipline does. And those are things that anyone, you can control that. You don't need permission. That's the trap most people fall into. They wait for approval, wait for validation, wait for someone to say, you're good enough, or you're ready, or you have what it takes. But what if that moment never comes? What if no one ever gives you that green light? You're going to sit there with all that potential bottled up inside you, wasting years of your life because you were waiting for a sign? The truth is, the sign is already in you. That vision you have, that passion, that fire, that is the permission. That is the proof. Nobody else needs to co-sign your destiny, Doc. Look at the people out there making moves. They didn't wait for anyone. They didn't ask for a round of applause before they got started. They weren't concerned with what people thought. They didn't need everyone to believe in them. They just needed to believe in themselves. That's the shift. The moment you stop needing permission, you start becoming unstoppable. Because now you're not moving to please anybody. You're not chasing approval. You're building for purpose. You're building for freedom. You're building for impact. And that kind of energy, that's dangerous. That's powerful. Too many people spend their whole lives living on pause. They've got dreams, big ones, but instead of acting, they're constantly asking, do you think it'll work? Or do you think I'm ready? Or what if people laugh at me? Stop it. You don't need a committee to tell you it's your time. You don't need a vote. This is not a democracy when it comes to your future. This is war. This is about claiming what's yours. And in war, hesitation is the enemy. The longer you wait, the more you lose. Opportunity doesn't wait. Life doesn't wait. Time definitely doesn't wait. There will be people who doubt you. People who don't understand your vision. People who try to minimize your dream because they can't see it for themselves. That's normal. That's human. But don't you dare let their fear become your limit. Don't shrink your goals to fit someone else's comfort zone. Don't keep your gift hidden because someone told you it's not realistic. Realistic doesn't build empire. Realistic doesn't start revolutions. You weren't built to play it safe. You weren't created to stay quiet. You've got something in you that needs to be seen, needs to be heard, needs to be unleashed. You might not have a fancy degree. You might not have investor. You might not have a blueprint, but you've got something more valuable. You've got vision, and vision doesn't come with a permission slip. Vision is what you act on before anyone else understands it. Vision is what you protect when nobody sees the outcome but you. The greatest creators, leaders, and game changers in history did ask, is it okay if I try this? They moved, they built, they created, and people caught up later. The world respects results, not hesitation. Show them what you're made of. Every time you hold back because you're waiting for someone to let you do it, you give away your power, your authority, your right to lead your own life. You weren't born to take orders from people who haven't walked your path. You gotta trust your own instincts. Trust your grind. Trust your gut. That idea you've been sitting on, act on it. That project you've been scared to launch it. That change you've been putting off, make it. Stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I never try? That's the real question. That's the real risk. Most people live in a cage built from the opinions of others. They dress for other people. They post for other people. They live out their careers based on what someone else said was a smart. But when it's all over, when the lights go off, when it's just you and your thoughts, you'll regret the moments you stayed silent. You'll regret the dreams you buried. You'll regret the time you wasted seeking approval instead of making progress. The people you're trying to impress, they don't pay your bills. They don't fight your battles. They don't live your life. So why give them control over it? This is your life, your race, your mission. And the sooner you understand that nobody is going to give you the green light, the faster you'll take off. There's no magic moment. There's no committee vote. There's just you waking up every day and choosing to act, choosing to build, choosing to show up without applause, without a crowd, without permission. Because that's what separates leaders from followers, builders from dreamers, movers from watchers. You don't need permission to be great. You just need to decide that pain is fuel. You've been taught to avoid it. Run from it, hide it behind a smile. Act like everything's okay when it's not. But pain is not the enemy. Pain is the signal that something inside you needs to grow. It's not there to break you. It's there to wake you up. That heartbreak, that failure, that disappointment, that wasn't the end of your story. That was the spark. That was the moment the fire got lit. And if you use it right, that same pain that tried to bury you can be the same pain that builds you when you're in pain. You've got two choices, fold or fuel. Most people fold. They back down, they let pain convince them they're done. But the strong, the hungry, the ones who want it bad enough, they take that pain and turn it into drive. They remember how it felt to be counted out. They remember what it was like to lose everything. And instead of getting bitter, they get better. They crying harder. They focus sharper. They move with purpose, not because it's easy, but because they've been through the fire and decided they're not going to let be for nothing. Think about every time you were overlooked. Every time someone said you weren't good enough. Every rejection, every loss, every door that slammed in your face. That pain, that was your fuel. That's the reason you stayed up late. That's the reason you worked when others slept. That's the reason you kept going when most people quit. Because you remember how it felt to be broken. And you made a decision. Never again. Pain isn't weakness. Pain is power when you know what to do with it. It's the strongest motivator there is. Because when it cuts deep, it hits different. It pushes you in ways comfort never could. People want to succeed, but they don't want to suffer. They want the reward without the struggle. But it doesn't work that way. Champions are not made on the podium. They're made in the dark. They're made in the silence when nobody's watching. When nobody's watching. When it's just them and the pain. Pain is the price of elevation. You've got to pay it in full. There are no shortcuts, no hacks, just work, just sacrifice. Just you staring your struggle in the face and saying, you will not beat me. Some of your most powerful moments come after your biggest breakdowns. Pain strips away the distractions. It gets rid of the fluff. When you're hurting, you start to see what really matters. You start to discover what you're really made of. You start to realize that comfort was never your friend. It was keeping you stuck. It was keeping you average. But pain forces growth. Pain demands that you evolve. Because if you don't grow, you stay stuck in it. And you're not meant to stay stuck. You're meant to rise out. Every scar you carry tells a story, not of defeat, but of survival. You're still here, still fighting, still breathing. That means the pain didn't win. That means there's more in you. There's more fight, more power, more fire, but you gotta stop wasting it. Stop letting the pain turn into bitterness or self-pity. Channel it, aim it, use it. Let it remind you why you started. Let it push you to go one more round, run one more mile, make one more move. Pain isn't the end of you. It's the beginning of the next version of you. Nobody talks about how hard it really gets. They don't show the tears, the frustration, the nights you wanted to quit. But that's where it all happens, in the pain. That's where strength is built. Not when things are smooth, but when everything's falling apart and you choose to keep going anyway. Pain makes you real. Pain makes you humble. Pain makes you focused. And the people who go the furthest, they're not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who went through hell and decided they were going to bring back something with them. That pain is the gem for your mind. It's where you get stronger. It's where you build calluses on your will. Where you learn what you're truly capable of. Most people quit when it gets hard. But not you. Not anymore. Because now you know pain has a purpose. Pain is proof that you're in the fight. That you're stretching, that you're growing, that you're chasing something bigger than comfort. And if you can carry it, if you can bear it, if you can burn it for fuel, there's nothing that can stop you. Success requires sacrifice. That's the part most people skip over. Everybody wants the spotlight, but they don't want the sweat. They want the results, but not the grind. They talk about dreams, but they won't trade their comfort to chase them. And that's why so many people stay stuck. Because they want greatness without giving anything up. But real success doesn't come from wishing, hoping, or wanting. It comes from giving up the things that are holding you back. It comes from letting go of what's easy so you can chase what's necessary. If you want to level up, you have to leave some things behind. That means late nights when others are partying. That means early mornings when your body screams for sleep. That means turning off distractions, walking away from comfort, and being willing to miss out while you're building up. You're going to have to say no to good things so you can say yes to great things. People around you might not understand. They might think you're doing too much, but they don't see the vision you see. They don't feel that hunger in your chest. They won't let you rest. And that's okay. Because you're not doing this for applause. You're doing this to change your life. Now, most people are not willing to pay the price. They want the lifestyle without the lifestyle change. No, they want to win, but not if it means working when they're tired, studying when it's boring, showing up when it's inconvenient. They say they're committed, but the moment pressure shows up, they fold. That's the difference between the few who rise and the many who settle. The few understand this simple truth. Something has to die for something greater to live. Comfort has to die. Excuses have to die. Laziness has to die. Only then can greatness rise. Sacrifice isn't just about giving something up. It's about what you're gaining. When you give up comfort, you gain discipline. When you sacrifice distraction, you gain focus. When you stop chasing approval, you gain freedom. You're not losing. You're investing. You're investing. Every moment, you choose the grind over the gain, the reps over the rest, the hustle over the hype. You're making deposits into a future that most people will never see because they weren't willing to pay the cost. There's no such thing as overnight success. What looks like an instant win on the surface is years of unseen sacrifice underneath. The sleepless nights, missed parties, the cold mornings when motivation was nowhere to be found, but you got up anyway. That's the stuff no one claps for, but it's the reason people clap later. You want to be a beast. You want to be elite. You want to dominate your lane. Then you got to bleed for it. Not once, not twice, but consistently. Success doesn't respect part-time effort. It only answers to full-time sacrifice. And the real sacrifice is internal. It's about giving up the version of you that settles, the one that procrastinates, the one that's scared. You have to sacrifice your ego. Sacrifice the pride that says, I already know this. Sacrifice the fear that keeps you small. Success is not just about adding more to your life. It's about removing what doesn't serve the mission. And that's hard. It hurts. But that pain is necessary because it sharpens you. It molds you. It prepares you for the weight of the success you're chasing down. People will say you're obsessed, that you're doing too much. But that's because they don't understand sacrifice. They've never pushed themselves past the limit. They've never tasted the pride that comes from earning something nobody thought you could do. You have to be willing to be misunderstood, willing to stand alone, willing to look crazy. Because what looks crazy to the world makes perfect sense to the one who knows what it's like to be hungry for more. And don't expect anyone to hand you credit. This isn't about validation. It's about elevation. And elevation requires separation. You can't go higher if you're clinging to everything down low. That means cutting off dead weight. That means protecting your energy, your time, your vision. Every year to success is a no to something else. You've got to choose. Every single day, you got to choose your future over your feelings, the mission over the moment, the purpose over the pressure, because success is not cheap. It demands everything. But if you're willing to pay that price, it gives back more than you ever imagined. That's start now, not later. That idea you've been holding on to, that goal that's been sitting in the back of your mind, that version of yourself you keep imagining, none of it becomes real until you take action. And not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Not when the stars align, but right now in the middle of the mist, in the middle of uncertainty, in the middle of fear. Because waiting for the perfect moment is the biggest lie you'll ever believe. There is no perfect moment. There is only now and what you choose to do with it. Most people stay stuck because they think they need more time, more knowledge, more confidence. So they keep playing, keep preparing, keep talking. But at some point, all that planning turns into procrastination disguised as productivity. You don't need another book, another podcast, another opinion. What you need is to move. One step, one call, one decision. Because movement creates momentum. You won't figure it all out before you start, and you don't need to. Starting isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to take the first step, even when the answers aren't clear. The truth is, the longer you wait, the more you feed doubt. You start overthinking. You start imagining every possible way it could go wrong. And that voice in your head, it gets louder. It tells you you're not ready, that you'll fail, that people will judge you. And the more you listen, the more stuck you become. Action silences that voice. Action tells fear, you don't run me. Action breaks the loop of hesitation and builds the muscle of confidence. Every time you move forward, even if it's small, you prove to yourself that you're not powerless, that you have a say in how your life plays out. That waiting is easy. It feels safe. It feels responsible, but it's a trap. Because while you're waiting, someone else is working. Someone else is building. Someone else is out there starting with less than you, risking more than you, and growing faster than you. Not because they had it all figured out, but because they made the decision to start. That's the difference. The people who make it aren't the ones who knew the most. They're the ones who acted the fastest, who looked fear in the face and said, oh, let's go anyway, bull. Our life doesn't reward intentions. It rewards execution. You don't get results for thinking about going to the gym. You get results when you show up and put in the reps. You don't get paid for having a good idea. You get paid when you bring that idea to life. Thinking doesn't move mountains, doing does. And you don't need to take massive leaps. You just need to take consistent steps. Every day you delay is a day you drift. A day your dream stays dormant. A day you can't get back that. Stop telling yourself you'll start on Monday. Stop saying you're waiting for the right time. The right time is a myth. The right time is a decision. You create it. You declare it. You own it. The people who break through in life are not the ones with the best timing. They're the ones who act with urgency, who refuse to let another day go by living below their potential, who understand that now is not too soon. Now is not too risky. Now is necessary. That you've got to stop romanticizing the beginning. It's not supposed to be glamorous. It's supposed to be gritty. You're going to feel awkward. You're going to mess up. You're going to doubt yourself. That's part of the process. But that discomfort, that's growth happening. That's the price of progress. You don't wait until you're confident to begin. You begin, and through action, you build the confidence. Through failure, you gain wisdom. Through repetition, you gain skill. Nobody starts as an expert. They start as a beginner who refused to stay one. Every day you delay your start. You teach yourself that your dream isn't urgent, that your goal can wait. But it can. Kids, every delay adds weight. Every pause adds pressure. And one day you'll look up and wonder where all the time went. Start now. Messy, unprepared, uncertain. Because momentum favors the bold. And action beats perfection every single time. You're already enough. That's where it begins. Not with someone else's approval. Not with the list of achievements. Not with a degree, a title, or a certain amount of followers. It starts with knowing that who you are right now, in this very moment, is already enough to begin. Too many people walk around thinking they need to be someone else to win. They compare. They copy. They try to fit molds that were never designed for them. Nah. But the power comes when you realize that everything you need is already inside you. You don't have to borrow someone else's confidence. You don't have to imitate someone else's style. You just have to learn to trust your own voice, your own story, your own fight. You've survived things that other people would have folded under. You've been through battles nobody saw, cried tears. Nobody wiped, kept going when it would have been easier to quit. And you think you're not enough? You think you're not qualified? You got scars that prove your strength, pain that's been turned into power, setbacks that turned into lessons. That's not weakness, that's credibility, that's fuel. But if you keep thinking you have to be perfect before you can be powerful, you'll keep disqualifying yourself from rooms you were born to lead. That perfection is a myth. And if you're waiting until you have it all figured out to show up, you'll be waiting forever. Growth isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you are. It's about stripping away the lie, the doubts, the fear, and standing firm in your identity. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need fixing. What you need is focus. What you need is belief. You don't have to be fearless to move forward. You just need to believe that what's in you is greater than what's around you. The game doesn't change when you become someone new. It changes when you finally embrace who you've always been. Every time you look at someone else and think, they have something I don't, you rob yourself of your own gifts. You weren't designed to be a copy. You were designed to be a force. There's something in you that the world needs, but they can't receive it if you keep hiding. If you keep doubting, if you keep thinking that who you are is somehow less than. It's not about having more. It's about recognizing what's already there. You've got ideas, resilience, creativity, perspective, but none of it matters if you don't believe it's enough. The world doesn't need another imitation. It needs your authenticity. The pain you carry, that's your story. The strength you built, that's your foundation. The way you see the world, that's your edge. Stop trying to mute yourself to fit in. Stop downplaying your greatness so others don't feel small. You don't need to shrink to belong. You belong because you exist. And when you show up fully, without apology, that's when things begin to shift. That's when you start attracting the right people, the right opportunities, the right energy. You have to stop telling yourself that you're not ready. Ready doesn't mean you have everything in place. Ready means you're willing to act with what you got. And what you got is more than enough. You've got experience. You've got wisdom. You got that fire inside of you that keeps waking you up in the middle of the night because it knows you're not done. That's not by accident. That's purpose trying to get your attention. But if you don't believe in your own value, how can you expect anyone else to? You are not lacking. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are in process. You are up to, are in development. You are in motion. Every version of you that brought you here was part of the plan. The weak version, the scared version, the lost version. Every one of them served a purpose. But now it's time to stop disqualifying your journey. You earned your place. You've earned your voice. You've earned the right to stand tall in your truth and say, I belong here, or don't need more validation. You need more action. You don't need more followers. You need more belief. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become more honest with who you already are. When you move like you're already enough, you don't need to impress. You don't need to prove. You just need to be. Because the moment you stop chasing worth and start living it, everything begins to align. The doors open. The fear fades. The path becomes clear. Not because you changed who you are, but because you finally accepted that who you are was always the answer. So now the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you? Will you stop waiting and start moving? Will you stop doubting and start believing? Will you stop holding back and finally step into everything that's already inside you? The pain, the sacrifice, the grind, the courage, it all. Not to quit, not to settle, but to rise. You got one life, one shot, one chance to leave your mark. And the world doesn't need more excuses. It needs your fire. So stop asking why me and start declaring why not me. You got what it takes. You've had the whole time. Now go prove it.